Let's talk about something that could break the internet if it ever gets confirmed. Imagine finding out your husband didn't just cheat, but with your childhood best friend. That's the rumor circling the Carter Nouse universe right now, and it's got layers deeper than Lemonade's entire track list. The whispers. Jay-Z might have had something going on with Kelly Rowland. Yeah, that Kelly, Beyonce's sister in Destiny's Child, her day one. And it gets even crazier. Some folks think Kelly's son, Titan, might not even be her husband's. They think he might be Jay-Z's. Now, before you roll your eyes, hear this out. People online have been side-eyeing photos of Titan next to Jay-Z, and the comparisons are hard to ignore. The facial structure, the nose, even the expressions. Fans swear it's more than coincidence. And timelines they're aligning too closely for comfort. Kelly had Titan in 2014. That same year, Solange came flying at Jay-Z in the elevator. You remember the video? The whole internet watched Beyonce calmly stand aside while her sister tried to lay hands on Jove. No one ever explained what set Solange off that night. But what if it wasn't about Becky with the good hair? What if it was about Kelly? Think about it. Solange and Beyonce have always been close, and Solange doesn't seem like the type to lash out unless it's something deep. Now imagine finding out your sister's husband has been creeping with your best friend and she might be pregnant. That's not just betrayal, that's personal. And guess who was just releasing music full of pain and vengeance 2 years later? Beyonce. Lemonade wasn't just art, it was a declaration. She aired Jay out hard. That's about lies, betrayal, and yes, that infamous Becky. For years, people assumed Becky was Rita Ora or Rachel Roy. But now some are going, wait a minute. What if it wasn't a random woman at all? What if it was someone who looked like family? That would explain why things went from silent to scorched earth real fast. And Kelly, she's always been in the shadows of Beyonce's spotlight, even when Destiny's Child was on top. There's been speculation for years that Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's dad and their manager, treated Kelly unfairly. Rumors said he used to make Kelly wear duller outfits so Beyonce could shine more. That he took Kelly's ideas and handed them to Bey like they were her own. That's the kind of stuff that breeds resentment, especially when you're constantly second place. Then, in 2013, Kelly drops a song called Dirty Laundry, and suddenly, the public's getting a glimpse of how heavy her life had been. The lyrics weren't subtle. Abuse, career jealousy, watching someone close to her succeed while she suffered silently. She sang about being in a toxic relationship and not feeling good enough. But here's what fans couldn't shake. Kelly never named the man in the song. And when folks looked back at her dating history, none of her exes seemed to match that description. That's when the speculation started again. What if it wasn't a public relationship? What if it was someone she had to keep quiet about, because naming him would have blown everything up? Now, to add fuel to the already raging fire, Jay-Z's had his own share of baby drama. A man named Rymir Satway came forward claiming Jay-Z is his father. His mom, Wanda, said she had a fling with Jay way back in the 90s when she was only 16. Jay was 22. They allegedly hooked up once in Brooklyn a few months later. Boom, she's pregnant. Wanda spent years trying to get Jay to take a paternity test. He never did. Then she passed away in 2019, still chasing answers for her son. Jay-Z's refusal to take that paternity test wasn't just about dodging a kid. People think it was about dodging a narrative. Because if Wanda was really underage when they met and he knew she had a son, then this wasn't just about child support. It was about protecting a billion-dollar empire built with Beyonce. And yet, even with all that money, all that power, Jay couldn't silence the whispers. Rye, the alleged son, didn't go away. He kept speaking out, sharing how Jay's legal team played games, dragged things through courts, and made it impossible for him to get closure. And while that storm was brewing on one side, the alleged drama with Kelly Rowland was bubbling on the other. People started connecting dots. Titan's birth in 2014, Solange's elevator explosion that same year, and Kelly's conveniently private pregnancy. It wasn't lost on fans that Kelly rarely spoke about her relationship with her husband, Tim Weatherspoon. And if you dig into it, their marriage felt more like a quiet PR arrangement than a grand romance. Then there's the whole Becky thing. When Beyonce said, "He only want me when I'm not there," he called Becky with the good hair, it shook pop culture to its core. Social media turned into a witch hunt, and any woman who had ever been in Jay-Z's orbit got accused. But there was always something odd about the mystery. Jay never clarified it, Beyonce never named names, and while Rita Ora and Rachel Roy became temporary targets, neither of them fit emotionally. It didn't sting in a way that lined up with the pain in Beyonce's voice.
But Kelly, that hits different. That's not just betrayal.
That's family. If that theory is true, it would explain why there's been visible distance between the two women. Post together when they have to show up for public events, but there's no real sisterhood energy anymore, not like before. Even when Destiny's Child reunited on stage, fans noticed Kelly didn't seem as close to Bey. They performed the hits, smiled for the cameras, but the bond felt manufactured.
And if you rewind back to the early 2000s, it's no secret Kelly always played second fiddle. Beyonce was pushed as the face of the group, and Kelly often faded into the background. Industry insiders say Matthew Knowles didn't just manage, they say he manipulated. That he made sure Beyonce had the best verses, the best outfits, the best lighting, and Kelly, she got what was left. There are even claims that when Kelly tried to book solo deals, Matthew either blocked or redirected those offers to Beyonce. That kind of favoritism cuts deep, especially when you're just as talented and constantly told to shrink. Fans started wondering, what if Kelly's relationship with Jay-Z wasn't just betrayal? It was revenge, a way to get even for being sidelined, underestimated, and cast as the backup singer in a group where she gave just as much.
It might sound wild, but Hollywood's full of stories like this. Power games, silent rivalries, secret affairs, and let's be honest, Jay-Z's track record doesn't exactly scream loyalty. From Foxy Brown to Liv to the endless parade of unnamed models, he's been at the center of so many cheating allegations, people stopped keeping count. Liv in particular didn't just hint at their connection, she rapped about it, dropped a whole diss track called Beyonce, Mrs.
Carter to her face and said Jay still thinks about her at night. And guess who backed off after Solange showed up at that restaurant? Liv. She said one death stare from Solange had her shaking. Liv wasn't the only one who felt Solange's fury. There's a reason people still bring up that elevator fight years later. It wasn't just a viral moment. It was a full-blown meltdown in a family that had spent decades keeping things polished and perfect.
That kind of raw emotion doesn't come out of nowhere. Felt like something had snapped. And when you look back at everything that's come to light since then, it's hard not to wonder if Solange had seen one too many things behind closed doors. She's always been the one who moves different, less industry-friendly, more real. So if she saw Jay-Z crossing a line with Kelly, there's no question she would have stepped in. Not with PR spin, not with silence, but with hands.
And that's exactly what she did. Beyonce standing there quietly while her sister went off didn't look like shock. It looked like acceptance, like she knew exactly what was happening and didn't need to explain it. The public may never get a confession, but the signs have been there. Fans have been connecting clips, analyzing body language, going back through lyrics, and noticing how Beyonce and Kelly's relationship has become more distant. Not hostile, but cold, controlled, like two people trying to maintain a brand more than a bond. And when you think about how much history they share, from childhood sleepovers to Grammy performances, it makes the shift even more noticeable. What's wild is that none of this is technically confirmed, but the consistency of the details is what keeps people talking. The timelines, the lyrics, the way other people around them reacted. And if there's one thing Hollywood has taught us, it's that where there's smoke, there's usually a full-blown fire being managed behind the scenes. Then there's Jay's own behavior. It's not just about alleged side checks, it's about how calculated he is. He's the kind of guy who knows how to manipulate narratives. When Lemonade dropped, he followed up with 444, his version of the apology. He talked about shame, therapy, and growth, but he never got specific. He said just enough to make it seem like he was owning his mistakes without ever naming names or situations. Classic damage control. And while fans respected the vulnerability, others felt like it was a carefully crafted redemption arc, one designed to clean up his image without addressing the real wreckage he left behind.
Because let's be real, cheating on Beyonce is already wild, but doing it with someone she sees as family, that's a whole different level of betrayal. Now imagine being Kelly. If the rumors are true, she would have gone from best friend to pariah overnight. Her career's been quieter for years. She drops music, makes appearances, but nothing ever lands with the same weight. It's like she's been boxed in, silenced by unspoken rules in the industry. Let's talk about something that could break the internet if it ever gets confirmed. Imagine finding out your husband didn't just cheat, but with your childhood best friend. That's the rumor circling the Carter Nouse universe right now, and it's got layers deeper than Lemonade's entire track list. The whispers? Jay-Z might have had something going on with Kelly Rowland. Yeah, that Kelly, Beyonce's sister and Destiny's Child, her day one. And it gets even crazier. Some folks think Kelly's son, Titan, might not even be her husband's. They think he might be Jay-Z's. Now, before you roll your eyes, hear this out. People online have been side-eyeing photos of Titan next to Jay-Z, and the comparisons are hard to ignore. The facial structure, the nose, even the expressions. Fans swear it's more than coincidence. In timelines, they're aligning too closely for comfort. Kelly had Titan in 2014. That same year, Solange came flying at Jay-Z in the elevator. You remember the video? The whole internet watched Beyonce